Hi and welcome back. In this video, we're talking about point-slope form for linear functions. So a linear function is said to be in point-slope form if it's written as the following. So we'll have f of x minus f of a is equal to m times x minus a. And so this is a specific form where the point is a, f of a, that's the point on the line for our point-slope form, and then m is still the slope of the line. So I more oftenly write this using the y for the output. So if y is equal to f of x, meaning y is the output, and then we could have the point x1, y1, so just some point on the line, then we would write this as y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So the important things here is that the x and the y are the variables. So we were going to have y is staying as y and x is staying as x. But the x1 and y1 are actually some sort of value or point that we have on the line, so those are going to have numbers in them. And our slope will as well. Our m will also be some sort of value. So the whole reason we even have point-slope form is that it's especially useful when we don't know the vertical intercept. So for slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, we need that vertical intercept b. But this is a really nice way for us to write equations of lines if all we have is a point and a slope. So the names are nice and helpful for what the formula needs. So point-slope form requires a point and a slope, and slope-intercept would use the slope and the intercept. And we use point-slope form when we don't have that intercept, and instead we're going to use a point. So let's go through an example and I'll show you how this works. So let's write an equation of a line y equals f of x that has slope negative 1/2 going through the point 3, negative 1. So every time I'm asked to write an equation of a line, I personally consider both slope-intercept, y equals mx plus b, and our new point-slope form. So that's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So here I only have a slope and a point, and so this is a great case where it's awesome to have point-slope form. So that's the one we're going to use here. So what I do is just substitute in the relevant information. So the slope is negative 1/2, that's my m value, and then the point 3 in the negative 1 is my x1 and my y1. So this is going to look like y minus negative 1 is equal to negative 1/2 times x minus 3. So I just put in the negative 1/2 for m, and the 3 in the negative 1 for x1 and y1. And this is our equation, but I personally like to simplify the minus and negative, so I'll write this as y plus 1 is equal to negative 1/2 times x minus 3. And there we go. So in a different video, we'll talk about how to convert from point-slope to slope-intercept form, but for now we're just going to leave this as our final answer. All right, let's write another equation. This time, let's write an equation for a line y equals g of x through the 2 points 1, 5 and 4, 14. So again, I'm going to consider both forms of the equation of a line. So I have slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and I have point-slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So in this problem, I was just given 2 points. So I don't have the intercept, and I don't have the slope. But with the 2 points, I can find the slope. So because I have points and I'm going to use them to find the slope, I'm going to do point-slope form. So we're going to find the slope first, and then we can use either point. So for the slope, that's m, we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm just going to choose 1, 5 as my x1, y1, and 4, 14 as my x2, y2. So when we put this in the formula, I have 14 minus 5, that's y2 minus y1, divided by 4 minus 1, x2 minus x1. This simplifies to 9 divided by 3, which is equal to 3. So my slope is 3, and that will go in my equation of the line for m. Now we can actually use either point that we were given to write the equation of the line. So we can write this either way. Let me show you both. So if we use the point 1, 5, we're going to use the 1, 5 as the x1, y1, this looks like y minus 5 is equal to 3, the slope, times x minus 1. And that's it for that point. Or we could also write this line instead with the other point. So this would be y minus 14 is equal to 3 times x minus 4. So I'm using the 14 as the x and the y that go in the formula instead. So either of these are equivalent answers. These are both good. They look different, but they represent the same line. And we'll revisit this in the next video when we talk about converting between the forms. But for now, this is it. Okay, so this is how we use point slope form if we're given some information written out. I want to show you why we might use point slope form if we were given a graph. So here is a graph of a function h, and let's suppose we're trying to find a formula for this function. So I could use either point slope form or slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form would be really nice and easy, but I need to know the vertical intercept to use it. And here, when I look at the graph, I'm not totally sure what the vertical intercept is. It's something between -2 and -3, but honestly, I'm not really sure what it is, and I don't want to guess. So instead of using that form, I'm going to use point slope form, because to me there are points that I can clearly see, but I really am having a hard time knowing for sure what that vertical intercept is. So what we're going to do is use point slope form. So I'll need to find my slope and then just pick a point to use. So for the slope first, let's identify some points that we can see. So I see points at -1, -4, 2, 0, 5, 4, and 8, 8. So those are some points. And now let's find the change in y and the change in x between these. So it looks to me like we're going up by 4 and then right by 3. So that's a change in y of 4 and a change in x of 3, which corresponds to 4 over 3 as my slope. So we have my slope. Now we just need to choose a point. So we've already drawn quite a few here. We just need to choose one. You can choose any point you'd like. If you're using a graph, just make sure it's a point you're very confident about, is not in between the labeled numbers. So I'm going to use 2, 0. I like it because one of the components is 0, so it makes things easier, but you can choose any of the points you can see. So when we write this as our equation, we're going to have y minus 0 is equal to 4/3 x minus 2. So I've put 4/3 in for the slope, and then my 2 and my 0 in for the x1 and the y1. And that's our final answer. We might just take one more step. I don't really like to write that -0 because it has no effect, so we could write this as y equals 4/3 times x minus 2. And there we go. That's our equation of a line from a graph, and a little bit about how we use point slope form. That's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.